Jon Swan, welcome to noise11.com with something very, very exciting. The new album is Believe.
Look at that top.
Congratulations on this, Jon. Really is a labour of love. You've got the family on it. You've got the friends on it. You've got the songs that we know. And, something new towards the end, which we'll talk about as well. This is a real achievement. You must be very proud of this, and you've been working on this project for a number of years.
Yeah, well, I've had to pay for it out of my pension. It's not many guys at 73 are still trying to record it.
Mick Jagger pays for all the Stones out of his pension.
Oh, hello. Yeah. But you know what? I was lying there, and I after losing Roger McLaughlin, because Roger, one of the tracks on the album, All I Ever Wanted, which Dave Gleeson and Rick Springfield play on, I didn't know when I was talking to Roger on the phone that he only had a couple of weeks to live. And he was nothing changed. He just had the same vibe, and he gave me the tracks. He got Jerry Pantakis in, and Froggy got his mate to get Rick Springfield in America. And, that's the way that album happened. It wouldn't have happened without people like Froggy. Yeah. And
Froggy, for those who don't know, Brian Frog Harris, legend in the music industry, been around for decades.
He's been at every record company.
In the other century and in this century, running Songland.
You'll cop it. Don't use to start.
A fact's a fact. We all crossed that bridge when we went from 99 to 2000, Jon.
Yeah.
So let's go track by track through the album. Let's talk about the track Well first, and Alan's involvement with that song.
I was lying there that night, and I thought, well, all I wanted to do was get the two of them together. Whoever else didn't matter. It didn't really matter. Because for me, family is the most important thing in the world. And just so happens they're talented, they're very good boys. So I'm a huge Delaney and Bonnie fan, the people who wrote the song. I had Alan's stamp all over it because he sounds like me, and then he turns Jim on, puts it in full gear. And when I brought him up to do it here at Nana Glen, and he just got into the song. In 2 takes, it was done, and he just delivered the goods. It's a great song, fantastic.
As is "Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City," which has been covered by lots of people. My personal favourite's a Whitesnake version, believe it or not.
Well, I was playing it on guitar this morning. I do guitar things every morning. I sit there and do my practice religiously every morning, and I'm playing it and I thought, hang on, and I put the album on, and I thought, oh no, that's the Bobby Bland version.
And what a great choice getting Jon Stevens to perform with.
But how could you not? Well, can I tell you how we got all of them so that you know? I just put a text up. I put 14 people's names in this text, and it was very simple. All it said was, Swanee here, I'm going to do a duets album. Would you like to do one with me? Now, the rock and roll industry takes months or weeks because everybody's touring or they're off, having a break or something like that. And I'm watching the Matildas play on telly, and I'm sort of sitting there going, my phone going bang, 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 bang. And I looked up, it's June, Colin Hay, all the guys who are on the album, and all it said was F and oath, what I mean? About time, when are we going to do it? What do you want to do? Not what song do you want me to sing, or do you think I should do this, do that? They left everything in my hands. They just said, yes, we're in, count us in. And, it's just a blessing for me.
Let's get on to Melinda Schneider. Should have never let you go. What a wonderful match of voices there with her and you trading off with each other.
Froggy says, you got to get Melinda to do this one. And I said, okay, well, I had to listen to it. And I went, cool. He said, well, she's in. I've already asked her. The guy who plays piano is absolutely wonderful, but he's playing Liberace's piano. He got it sent over from the States, and it started off, and I had put a real rough guide vocal on it. She sang on it, and I'm not kidding you. When she sang on it, I just listened to it, and I was like this. I was just thought, because when Neil Sedaka and his daughter sing it, that's the type of feeling I wanted to get. I wanted people to get that feeling that I got when I heard them singing it, like they were really close to each other, you know. And so I redid the vocal and I stood back and said, look, this is just a rough little, will this be okay? And it is what it is. You know, it was done in a day. It wasn't done in any big fancy studios or anything like that. Melinda went into the studio and did hers for the piano, of course, but I'm Scottish. Yeah, great
Yeah.
track. I love it.
And it's just a wonderful lot of soul that comes out of this record. As with Caledonia, Colin Hay. I
Oh,
spoke to Colin a couple of weeks ago. He said this.
I first met Jon Swan when he had his first, when he had his band Swanee, and he obviously found out that he was Jimmy's brother, and around the same time that I met Jimmy, actually, way back then, and I think it was probably 1980 or something, and you listen to Jimmy and you think, wow, what a voice, and then you listen to Swanee and you think, wow, what a voice. They both had incredible voices, two of the greatest voices that I'd ever heard. And so I would see Jon from over the years from time to time. And when we were both drinking, we would drink together. And then when we weren't drinking, we would both not drink together. And so he just asked me if I would, add to this record or do something. And I think it was his suggestion that we do Caledonia. So he sent over me a rough, and I just did what I thought was going to work, and sent it back to him. And apparently he must have liked it because it's on the record. So I hope it does really well for him.
when I was a bit younger, I used to hang around with all Scottish guys. You know, if you weren't Scottish, you either had to be Liverpudlian or a Geordie, because that's close, you know. It's like being a Scotsman with your head kicked in. Um, but, you know, Colin's one of those guys that when I first met him, he's exactly as you see him today. He's no different. Watch him. He's the most entertaining person. He talks to the audience. And he doesn't play a song for 10 minutes and he's just chatting away and the audience is silent and mesmerized by his story. And he's just simply got an acoustic guitar and he sings. And when he does Overkill and stuff like that, you know, and I do that for the kids, you know, like all the kids, homeless people and stuff like that. And I do his versions of all these. What's he got now? But Caledonia, I thought he will nail that because it's close to his heart. It's ours. See this? The rampant line. Go, Cole.
Where Is My Soul is the next song we're going to talk about. This is with Diesel. Now, Diesel is Jim's brother-in-law, so I guess that makes him your brother-in-law-in-law.
No, he's my brother-in-law, because if he's Jim's brother-in-law, yeah. He married Jane's sister.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah. I'm going with your brother-in-law-in-law.
In brother-in-law,
brother-in-law once law removed.
I'll take that. I'm just pleased to be part of that group of friends, you know, because I got to tell you that there's not a nicer man in the world. Diesel, it sounds like I'm saying that about everybody, but they really are genuine souls. Have a talk to Diesel. He never goes off on a tangent and he doesn't start telling you what he's done and what he's got. Now, you know, I wouldn't know if he's got a big fancy house or anything like that. All I know is he's got a good collection of guitars, you know. When he got my text, he sent me a text back saying, you know, definitely, Jon, let's do it, you know. Next morning, I get a phone call. Morning, get it? You know, he's up running somewhere up Double Bay, you know, like, I'm like, and he goes, I had a dream about you last night. I said, sorry about that. I didn't know it was your sister. And he said, no. He said, I could hear you singing this song, and I got out of bed, and I sort of put my guitar on, and I started doing it, and I put a vocal on it, and I'm going to send it to you, okay? And you just put it in, take my vocal out, sing where you want to sing. I said, oh, okay. So I went in, I had listened to it, and I just went, oh, you know. I chopped out the first verse, and chopped out there, dropped my vocal in, sent it back to him for approval, and he said, that's it, it's great. That's all it was. That's how easy it is and how professional these guys are. When you've got a good song and you've got great play. I mean, it's so simple. It's just guitar and two vocalists, you know, and we're not trying to outdo each other or compete with each other. We're trying to complement this song, you know.
Let's talk about Joe Camilleri and the great song you've done here, Cry to Me.
Joe Camilleri, when I first heard him in the old days, it was like, wow, this guy's incredible, you know. And then he played sax, and when it came time to do the song, he just, no questions. I just said, the main thing about all of these guys, particularly Joe, was never asked me what the song was, what do you want me to do, what keys it in, and you know, I'd sent them a rough, you know, like, and bang, they did it, sent me back the final, you know, and they gave me 3 or 4 choices. Not, yeah, I'll do a vocal for you, and they just do a vocal and send it to you, you know. And then they ring up, check and see for the most generous, giving people that I know in the rock and roll industry are on this album. And Joe's definitely one of them. And any bastard who's got his guitars, give them back to him, otherwise, you know what I'm saying?
You'll be hearing from Swanee.
Yeah. Oh, not just me. I might give you a phone calls.
Well, we won't go into your connections.
No.
You'll incriminate yourself here.
I already have.
Who chose the Dylan classic, Don't Think Twice, It's All Right? Was it you
Me.
or Wendy Matthews?
I chose all the songs. The only one I didn't choose was Believe. And I'll get to that in a while. Wendy's just such a sweetheart. She lives up the road here from me. She's got a property up in the hills. She walked in and she said, what do you want me to do? And I gave her the words. And she said, I had a couple of listens to it. But I'll try it. I said, just go. Do what you want to do. She went in and sang it. Now in and re-sang mine because I wanted to match some of the inflections that she had done. And then she did the harmonies and I did harmonies. And then Alan comes in and he starts doing harmonies on top of it. And as it is, you know, they weren't mixed in, you know, with really expensive producers and all that sort of stuff. This is just a love job. This is seriously just guys who like doing what they're doing and delivering good product. They never deliver bad product.
Let's talk about the man who put the original fabulous Caprettos together in the first place, Russell Morris, with My Maker, I Am One.
Russell's got to be the all-time classic rock and roll Australian singer, you know. I've not even since, but I think it was somebody's image. Was it somebody's image? His first
Wow,
band?
You are old.
Oh yeah, I was with Lynn Randell. I was playing drums with Lynn Randell. I was only 14, so you can imagine, you know. But Russell was never any different. He was always that nice guy, you know. He sort of keeps himself fairly restrained, and he doesn't talk too much, you know, bravado. Straight down the line, just Russell Morris, you know. And like I said to you before, all of these guys are the same. Russell's got an exceptional quality. He's a mad boxing fan. So me and him get stuck. There's a whole bunch of us in the Qantas Lounge in Sydney or Melbourne or wherever it is. And there's all the bands over there and they're all talking about girls and cars and stuff like that. Me and Russell's over on the other table with a coffee, none of us drinking, just sitting, drinking coffee, talking about boxing because we're both mad boxing fans, you know. And he said, oh, you got to get this Russian thing. I said, yeah, okay. You going to do the vocal? He said, I've done it. Oh, okay. So I get home and I opened up my Dropbox file and I hear this, I'm the preacher, you know, and he's got that gravelly sort of voice. And Russell is unmistakably Russell, you know. You hear his voice and you know it's him. And he said, he's underestimates his own worth. You know, I'm not going around saying, I said, mate, you're going to walk out there and you're going to go, oh, mama, mama, oh, mama, and they're not even going to know I'm on the planet. You know, what are you worried about, you know? But he is the sweetest man, sweetest guy.
All I Ever Wanted is such a great Santana song. I loved that song by Santana when it came out all those years ago. And Dave Gleeson and Rick Springfield and Swanee all together on this one track. That's a super group.
Dave is like another brother in our family. I'm doing Adelaide. Do you want to come and do a couple of songs with us? Oh, yeah, I'll get it. Why don't you put it up on the, you know, like, we'll do this, we'll do that. He gets out and does his jet stuff. He's just, once again, nicest guy you could possibly. What you see is what you get. He's the quintessential Australian rock singer, you know? No bullshit. He just likes a little dairy or a little smoke and a little drink, and he gets up there and does it, and he talks to people the way he does on stage, the same as off stage. We first met at a university, and he was early days. And he used to have a habit of spitting, like, and he spat on Virginia, my wife. And like, so I'm waiting for him to come off so I can kill him, like, he came off and I said, he spat and he said, it's not that. He said, it's getting this stuff in my face, and it spat. So I landed on my wife. He was so apologetic. He's never stopped apologizing. That's him. That's the essence of him. He's just a real genuine guy, and he went and apologized like true gentleman, and he's
and
never.
That, folks, is where we've officially crossed the line where Jon has given us too much information.
Yes. Yeah, please. You can edit that out, because.
Oh, no. That stays in.
But since that day, I admire that guy because he's doing really well with his radio show, not just his music show, because he talks to people the way that they want to hear it, much like yourself. It's not about them. You make it about. I'm not used to talking to people like yourself and him because normally they're sort of, well, Swanee, remember that time when me and you wrote? I go, no, I don't. And that's Gleeson.
Yeah.
Rick Springfield came in. Rick Springfield, I've always loved him. I had to follow Zoot from Adelaide to Melbourne when I was 14 we were in a Zephyr station wagon, all the band and the gear, following Zoot down the road. They must have thought we were some sort of weirdos,
Okay, well, I'll just pause the interview here because you said you were in a Zephyr station wagon. So for anybody born over after 1975, this is what a Zephyr looks like. All right, and we're back. Bring it on home to me, Jack Jones, another great one.
Played a fair bit with Jack, but I didn't really know him that well, like... you know them, but you don't know them that well, like they would do the rest of the guys. Because he always kept to himself. He was always pretty quiet. He wasn't sort of up there trying to, grab the girls and all that sort of stuff. He just sat there and waited to go on, and he'd chat and wait to people like normal. I heard him sing, and I just went, oh, Then I heard him playing guitar. I nearly fell off my chair, I just went, shit, this guy's brilliant, So I went up and introduced myself. He's also going to get sick of hearing this, but all of these guys are there for a reason. They are great people. They're, staunch. They're really, really class acts as human beings. Now, the fact that they're at the top of their game vocally is my benefit. And they would have been my choice if they weren't, because I just love the guys. That song, I sort of just left it with him, and he said, "Oh, I've changed a few things. I hope you don't mind." I went, "No, we'll be right back." It is what it is, exactly as he sent it to me.
Stevie Wonder's lately, from the Hotter Than July album, sort of around the 1980, 79, 80, 81 period, but around there anyway. You performed this one with Ian Moss. We had Ian Moss with us last week. He said this about the song.
More than happy to have played on Jon Swan's latest album, and pretty happy with the choice. We did a Stevie Wonder song together called Lately, and kept it nice and sparse. It was recorded a couple of years ago, so I'm pretty sure it's just me on acoustic guitar, and the fabulous Phil Stack from Thirsty Merc on upright bass. And that's it, bare bones, but it's all there. Lately.
Ian, another very lifelong connection that you've had, Jon.
Yeah, he's like the other brother, like if you had other brother. Well, the good thing about all of these guys is they do have that quality that you would have you'd be proud to have them as brothers. Mossy is one of the most exceptional people I've ever met in my life. He sends me on my birthday every year when somebody passes away or when somebody's sick or when I get sick. Mossy's the first person, and I mean the first person who puts an articulated email together, and it touches your heart, but not only that, when I was actually in Chisel at the start, and I walked into the ladies', what's it called, the Women's Liberation Hall, where they were rehearsing, and Jim was up there doing his vocal, because I didn't want to do it. I was getting $25 playing drums. I'm not going to put work for them for nothing. Cover band, and they said, let's do Lazy. and he started like doing lazy, and I'm not kidding you. I just stood there and went, "Oh no, you've done it again!" I've blown it. The guitar player was just—he's still this day Mossy. Him and Diesel, and that said, put Mossy and a guitar on stage, they'll sing you Cry Me a River, they'll sing anything, but they've got that quality that's just truly them. And lately was actually Mossy's choice. That was the only one in the album. He said, "I'd love to do a Stevie Wonder song," because me and him used to sit together when in Armadale. When you were living there, there's no TV, no hot water, no toilet. You have to go and dig a hole outside. And the whole thing was that we'd listen to the earlier Stevie Wonder album with Evil and all that on it, and we'd learn all the licks, and then we start doing them in other songs. I can never ever speak highly enough about Ian Moss. He is probably my favorite artist, definitely one of my favorite people in the world.
Now, the next track we've got is Brother of Mine, and it's two brothers of yours, Alan Barnes and Jimmy Barnes, and Jon Swan, the holy trinity of the Barnes family.
Yeah. Mahalia's in there. She's in there as well,
Mahalia she's a little angel.
She sits on our shoulders and tells us what to do. She's so good. Well, see, the initial thing, like I said to you at the beginning, was I didn't really plan to do an album. I just wanted to sing with my two brothers and get it on down for future legacy, and it was very, very hard because you're thinking of your own mortality. We're all getting to the age. Jim's had 3 or 4 heart attacks, etc. But we're still singing really freaking good. So I thought, while we're still doing it, let's do it together. And I was wondering how either one of them would receive. They both just went, "Oh, yeah, what a great idea. I know the song." Because that song was originally given to me by Tommy. Tommy Emanuel gave it to me when I was doing This Time It's Different. And I had just finished. I was mixing, so I couldn't do it. And somehow it turned up in Jim's Flesh on Wood album, I guess he and Tommy had been talking and, and it's one of those songs that you couldn't get anything better. I couldn't put into words Brother of Mine because Tommy was writing that for Phil with Steve Kipner, and, it's brothers. It's just about brothers, And if you listen to the lyrics, it's very much our story. There's a complex web of love and pain inside that song. And I think it's appropriate. And it's probably the one that I do get a bit emotional when I'm talking about it because I go into a place, they're still my little brothers. I still remember them back there, when none of them sung. Nobody did anything. We just played soccer and sleep in one room in a bunk beds. That's what brothers are for. And we're still very close,
Have the three of you ever recorded before together?
No, and it's not because we haven't intentionally. If we have, we can't remember. To put that nicely, is that okay?
That's all right. I can't remember what I did last night, so I'm with you on
that. It was the perfect song for this, and in my own humble way, I'd like to think that we do homage from Tommy to Phil, because they were as close as what Jim and Alan are to me. They're my brothers. To get 3 brothers on one track is just the most powerful thing for me. I don't care what happens from here on in. That was one of my, if I had to look, before I released this Mortal Coil, I wanted to sing with my 2 brothers, and I got it done. And they did such a great job on it,
Brother of Mine is the Alan and Jimmy song. We go from that one into another song with Jimmy, the song with Jimmy, Dark End of the Street. Tell us about that, John.
It speaks for itself because the song is brilliant, and everybody who's sung it has done a good job of it. And Jim's job of it, to me, was the best one. But I mean, everything he does is good for me. And the hard part was for me to be compassionate with his vocal, and so we blended a lot more. Luckily we had Kevin Shirley doing the production, so it was very, very good. Sent him a demo. He sent me one with Jim's vocal on it, and I did a vocal underneath it and sent it back and said, "Is this the idea?" And he sent me back a text saying, "That's it, cool." And we had a little discussion about, I was going to do it. I want to do it again. I want to get a Neumann. He said, "It's the singer, not the mic. It's fine." So Dark End of the Street is probably one of my favorite tracks of all. It's simple as that, and I was so graced when Jim said, "Yeah, let's do that."
Kevin Borich, what a legend. The track is There Is a Road. Tell me about that song.
This is Kevin. He rings me up and he says, "Can you do a vocal on that today?" And I went, "Today? I can't get up there, mate. You live in Mullaney. I'm in Coffs Harbour." He said, "Yeah, I'll come down there, mate. I'll come down there, So, all right, sure. So hang up. Day goes on. Late in the afternoon, Kevin turns up with his producer, a laptop, and a Neumann mic, And Kevin sat there. The guy set up my mic over there, and he said, "Go on, sing." I went, "Okay." And I just sung it. And he said, "Can you do a couple of ad-libs for me?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Threw a few ad-libs in. He said, "Right, that's it." I went, "No, hang on, give me a couple of runs at it so you got choice." He said, "No, it's fine. It's good. It's really good, brah." He says, "I've got to go." I said, "Mate, I'm trying to arrange a hotel for you." He said, No, I'm driving home." They drove all the way from Mullaney, that's in Sunshine Coast, down to here, Coffs Harbour, stayed for about 3/4 of an hour, had a cup of green tea, and drove back, him and Nick, the producer, And that is exactly what happened there. This whole album hasn't been about any of the recording bullshit, I used to love Rhinoceros and all those places, but this is just really the way we started playing music, You did it on a cassette then sent it to your mates, This is it. And working with Kevin has always been an absolute pleasure.
As we work our way through the Believe album, People Get Ready, one of the great gospel songs of all time. Yeah. I loved a Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck version of this many years ago.
Yeah.
Mahalia Barnes, you've got your niece on here, the family connection. She is one of the great soul singers in Australia at the moment. And what a showcase having her here.
It's almost an insult to say to it, but I used to love Renee Gayer. Because me and Renee got on great, and not many people liked Renee because she was very outspoken, but she was a sweetheart, she just didn't put up with shit. Mahalia is very similar. She's a very, very strong-headed woman, but when she opens her mouth, she turns into this, like she's named after Mahalia Jackson, so. There, that says it all. From day one, she's been like that, tin lids. But when I gave her this, her husband, Ben, took it into his studio, stripped it down, and put new guitars on it. They got Lock and Dooley in, and, Jackie Barnes, and all. Everybody was in on it. So that makes it more a family album, So I hope to get that one done as a video so I can get the whole family on a couch and we can play it together, We'll probably do it live in Jim's place, But the song itself, as you said, it's one of those songs today when I hear it, I just go, it doesn't matter who's singing it, doesn't matter. It's just great songs. Great songs never go away.
Tell me about the title track, Believe. This is the only track on the album that isn't a duet. For
those who don't know Songland, it's a great place in Canberra, and the owner, proprietor, is a good friend of ours, good friend of Paul's too. Brian Harris, Froggy, great man. Russell Morris gave me, I didn't have any idea how I was going to get this album done. And he said, bring this mate of mine. He'll look after you. He's a great bloke, mate. He's no bullshit. You'll never have to worry about nothing. I said, "Thanks, Russell." He said, "Tell him."
By the way, that was the worst Russell accent I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's mine.
Back to Frog.
Yeah, Frog. Well, I picked the phone up and I said, "Hi, I got a message from Russell saying to give you a call." And he said, "Hi, mate. How are you doing? And he said, "What are you doing up to?" And I told him what I was doing. And the next thing you know, we're sitting here doing this. And he's done everything else. I just recorded the music, mate. That guy has worked his ass off behind the scenes. He's got a team of people who are all have been at the top of their game, in one shape or form. The young girl that did the artwork was another guy's a friend of his, and it sort of was, this album was done on a shoestring budget, except it was thongs. There was no. I can't speak highly enough about Froggy. He's really been the sort of production boss of this, and everything. From the girl Holly Nicholas to everything else that's gone on. Me talking to you, even though I've known and respected you for years, you and him are good friends. And he said, I want you to do this first. I went, right, okay, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And then he rung up, and he rings me in the morning, he rings me at night. Don't forget tomorrow's list. You know what I mean? If you don't know him, you don't understand that. But he's meticulous with what he does. So hence, everything that comes out with his name on it or with him attached to it is good. So I just sit back and say, yes, sir, no, sir, I'll do it. Because he's got a heart that big, and he's got the best wicked sense of humor. Sometimes it's hard for me to understand, but now that I've got him, now that I sort of got to know the person, it's great. He's a bundle of joy. And this thing here would not have happened without him, and I sincerely mean that. I humbly bow my head to you.
Yeah. So the song Believe, tell me about that.
Yeah, Believe, that was his choice. He said, I want you to listen to this track, And I said, yeah, fine. I'll listen to Brook and Duns. And I loved the track, because they're great. I was just finished working with Mark Moffat before he passed away. And we were talking about doing a country album like this. And I listened to the Brooks and Dunn version, and I had my eyes closed and I could see myself singing it. So just worked the chords out, did a little tiny chart, and just started singing it. And I rang Froggy about it, and I said, I love this, mate. It's really good. I'd like to call the album Believe. And he went, yep, good. I said, who will I get to sing it? He said, nobody. He said, it'll be the closing track of your album because it's paying respect to all of those people that believe in you and you believe in them, and sometimes everybody gets belief mixed up with religion and stuff like that. My religion's love. It's just good intent, good people. And when I listen to the old man Wrigley lived in that White House, so the character is, I can sit on the porch in my mind's eye and hear every lyric, I can see the guy sitting, the story's so well told. And at first I gave him a hard time because I didn't want to do a solo, like finish off your album with a solo album, it's not even a rock song, but it finished up exactly what I needed to finish the album with because it's me and me believing in what everybody else has done in this album and believing there's a lot of people that will never get thanks, and I will be eternally grateful for them. So Believe's dedicated to them.
It's a beautiful album, Believe.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Swanee's new album. It's great to have it out there. And good to have a chat with you about every song on the album, John.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul.